And welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Around the Bases with Bubba and Mo, episode 27. Recording on a Sunday night. Going to get it nice and early this week, so enjoy it. But as always, I am Bubba, and I'm joined by my co-host, Mo. Mo, how are we doing tonight?
We're doing well, and since we're recording on a Sunday night, we're going to switch it up. I'm going to start it up with the wacky weekend that it was with the Players Weekend. We talked about this, I don't know, a couple months ago, whenever it came out. We thought it was kind of cool. A couple of articles out there on, just kind of a breakdown on who had what and what were the kind of cool nicknames. What'd you think about the weekend overall with the uniforms, the hats, the nicknames, everything?
I thought the nicknames were great. I thought letting them wear their own shoes, that was really cool. Some guys really went for it. I liked the different kind of bats some guys brought out. Like, that stuff was really cool. I know what they were trying to do with the uniforms, but some of them were good, some were just hideous. Absolutely.
Oh, right.
It was like Lee Corso's wet dream out there on the field. It was unbelievable. I hated the Giants. It was just like gray with orange streaks. They could have done so much more. It was just bad. That part of it was bad, but I loved the interaction, how some of the players enjoyed it. I almost felt like the guys that just left their regular last name on there, that MLB or somebody that should have been a fan vote should have been able to say, we're picking your nickname, because I know there was some on every team. Like the Giants had Panic, and I think another one. There's a handful on every team. And that's just lazy. Have some fun with this. You guys complain about how often MLB has like their thumb on top of you. They're letting you have a little fun. Let it out. Enjoy it.
Can you take a guess? Because I had the same thought about the whole last name thing. Can you take a guess on the Red Sox who had their last name on it?
Did it involve a P and then with an E?
No.
Yeah, Astro. I'm looking at that right now. Wow.
Yeah. So that, to explain that one real quick, that's kind of the local radio station kind of, there's a guy that makes fun of him with his voice and says, something about Astro. So I think he's kind of playing with that, which I kind of respect him for a little bit, but at the same time, he pays attention to all that crap. No, it's our favorite friend, John Farrell. His last name was on his jersey. So, not that he wears the jersey. He's kind of like Francona, where like he just never wears it. So I thought it was kind of stupid. If you just have your last name on it, just like, like you said, enjoy it, man. Like, the Orioles were tough to watch in terms of, granted they swept us, but that orange was bright. It was really, really bright.
Honest question: were the managers, did they have nicknames because it's Players Weekend? I have no idea. Honestly, I don't know if any other teams did.
So yeah, everyone did, because like our third base coach is Brian Butterfield. He had Butter. Like Ruben Amaro Jr. had like Ruben Jr. So that was really created by him. No wonder why he's not in the front office anymore. He's coaching first base. So yeah, the coaches, because they kept finessing, they kept putting it at the bottom line. I mean, MLB was probably like, put this out there and let's get it going, whatever. And plus, I mean, I think the number one thing we have to look at here, we think it's great. We think it's like, let them wear whatever they want. Like the NFL, they'd let them celebrate a little bit more now and all that kind of thing. It's selling merchandise. And that is the number one reason they did this. And smart by them. It's a marketing machine. They got to make money.
Yeah, on the bright side, like we talked about last time, is a good percentage of this goes to the charity for Major League Baseball, so it's not a complete cash grab. But yeah, that's all this is for.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Good point.
You're 100% correct, though. There's no other, even though they're donating some, they're still keeping like 75% to pocket themselves. So they're making like boatloads of money. It's ridiculous. What were some of the nicknames that you enjoyed? I found a Sporting News article that they ranked the top 75, and some of these are just priceless. Like Josh Bagley was PTBNL, player to be named later. That is outstanding.
Yeah, it was kind of funny with with Carabas and like Mitch Moreland was Two Bags. They started calling him Mitchie Two Bags, and then obviously Travis Shaw was, he had mayor of DDC, which if you guys don't know, Carabas named him mayor of Ding Dong City a while back. I mean, there was a few of them, like you said. That was a pretty good one. For the most part, it was just. I think Zach Davies was Bat Boy. That was pretty good. Craig Counsell was the Chicken, which who knows? I guess he's going for it. And everyone raves about him as a manager in terms of the Brewers. They kind of like him. So yeah, those are just a couple of them that were kind of cool.
Another one I really enjoyed. Where's he at? I just had him right here. Yeah. There he is. James Paxton, Big Maple, because he's a 6'4" Canadian. That was awesome. That's one of the funniest things I've seen. Big Maple. Like, that is just awesome.
Yeah.
Like, Sonny Gray named Pickles. I want to hear the stories to some of these. Some I don't care at all, but some of these I'm really curious. Chin Wee Who, his nickname was Who with a question mark. That's
I'm sure
if I would say that, I'd be called racist, but this is funny.
I'm sure a lot of them they just can't tell unless you interviewed them. Like Eno Saris gets all those private interviews with all the guys. Like I'm sure we'd have to get a private interview one-on-one with one beer or 7. Who knows?
Yeah, it's pretty good stuff, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they kind of expand on it next year, because I don't think they're going to go away with it. Like you said, they're going to make money. And the most important thing is it did bring new eyes to the television, to the field. I think. Obviously, we don't know. It just ended. But you saw kids flocking to this stuff.
Yeah.
And that's their goal in the long run. They don't care about us anymore. We've already are established. They're going for the next generation. And as long as that works, they're going to keep doing this. And we've talked about so many times how the youth of baseball is setting their stage. What better way to do it? Because they'll have fun with it. So it's great.
Yeah, agreed.
That'll take us into the NL wildcard race. We talked AL wildcard quite a bit, actually. The NL is not, it's not going quietly. Let's just put it that way. The AL is hot, hot, hot. We could talk about that forever. But the National League is still battling and battling strong. You have the D-backs and the Rockies up top. Then you only have the Brewers 3.5 back. The Marlins, the Miami Marlins, or the Miami Stantons, depends on how you want to look at it, is 4.5 games out now. Out of nowhere, nowhere.
Yeah. The Miami Jeters, the Miami Jordans, whatever you want to call them. Everyone, Pittsburgh and below, they're dead. They're done. I'm still confused why Pittsburgh, maybe the Garrett Cole sweepstakes wasn't as big as we thought it was. Colorado, I'm just going to say this, Bubba, they're in trouble. I really do think they're in trouble. They've last 4-6 in their last 10. They're just 8-12 last 20, 13-17 last 30. Not that that's terrible, but when you have Miami coming out of nowhere, it's won 8 out of their last 10. Milwaukee's kind of holding ground there. They've been better in their last 10, and then St. Louis is still there. St. Louis will always be there. They just don't die. So it's really, I think Arizona's fine. They got Robbie Ray back. I think they'll be okay there. But Colorado in that pitching, I think the one thing, and again, I wasn't able to kind of look it up, but when we talked about Colorado and what they've changed, they changed their road play, and they were good on the road. Well, now they have 1 game under 500 on the road on the year, so they've really fallen off there in the last two and a half months or so. I think they're in big trouble. We talked Chad Bettis. They got him back. That was a nice little story. He had a rough start this weekend. The Milwaukee Brewers, man, my Milwaukee Brewers somehow they've got a shot here. They really do. So I think Arizona gets there. Colorado's offense is great, like I talked about. The bullpen's been iffy, really, really iffy. Greg Holland, we talked about. A lot of rumors he's probably going to opt out and go for a 4 or 5 year deal if he can. He's been a little shaky lately. So if I had to pick now, I think I would go Arizona, and I think Milwaukee squeaks in there. I just do.
Yeah, we've been big on Milwaukee most of the year. I agree with you on Arizona. They just got the blessing of facing the Giants, which, you know, the Rockies might get theirs at times too. But the Diamondbacks did what they had to do in that series. What makes it interesting for Colorado is when we talked about them before, besides the road record you mentioned, is their young pitchers are pitching great. And that was the biggest thing I had a concern with. I didn't think they could do that. And you've seen Freeland has really come back to earth. He has a good start here and there, but nothing real crazy. You know, Gray's back. That's big for them. But Sensatella and company, they're really not the guys you want. They're hopefully Bettis, besides just the great, you know, story and beating cancer and all that. He's been good in his first couple starts. Maybe that'll be a big thing to help them stay afloat. But as a whole, I don't see it. And you mentioned some guys are leaving after this year. The time is now. I talked about, like you said, Cargo. He's going to be leaving soon. You got Holland, who there's no reason for him to stay there. He has to opt out and get a deal the way closers are going in baseball. They're in trouble. It's going to be really interesting for me because if you look at the NL Central, you know, you got the Cubs are only 2 up on Milwaukee and 4.5 on St. Louis. They have better chances to win their own freaking division. So I think they're going to battle pretty hard. I'd like Arizona getting there for sure. The sneaky one for me is I know they're on a streak, and streaks, you know, they'll come to an end. They'll probably go 2-8 the next 10 or something. But we were not huge on Miami this year, but they're getting it done. The pitching still concerns me immensely. You had a hot couple starts from like an Andrew Heaney, which you really don't expect if you look at his peripherals. Like right-handed bats just clobber him. So he got it. But when you have the hottest hitter on the planet in Giancarlo Stanton, I don't know if he's homering 4 out of 7 games a week. They might go 4-3 every week, and that might be just enough with these teams to sneak in there. But I agree, Milwaukee or whoever finishes second in the Central, let's put it that way, they should be the one sneaking.
Yeah, and interesting to note that Milwaukee did win that series against the Dodgers this weekend. Unfortunately, they didn't get the sweep, like I said. They did win the series, so that was huge because and again, I didn't go look back at the Dodgers because it's just no point because they're so good. I don't need the numbers to tell you they're so good. But I'd be willing to bet that that's probably no more than their second series loss in a while, and it might be their first. And Milwaukee's schedule in September, I mean, they play the Cubs 7 times, but they have Pittsburgh and Cincinnati, and then they have St. Louis, so they're fighting against them. But Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, like probably 10 to 12 times. They got a 4-game series with Washington coming up. We all know they're banged up, but Scherzer's coming back tomorrow. Tomorrow as in Monday. And so that's a big series, but it's at home. So, you know, Milwaukee, and if I look real quick, Milwaukee at home, you know, actually it's not as good as I thought it was at 35-30, but you know, they really have kind of, not that everyone else does, they're 39-30 against teams under 500. So they've got to make sure they win those games against Pittsburgh and against Cincinnati. And hopefully Cincinnati, you know, they're getting younger. They got the young kids started. And I didn't get to see his start today. You know, Mal or Male. We talk about how I can't say names. Hopefully they bring up Nick Senzel coming up because he's in fuego right now at Double-A. So they're going to have their young guys playing more. So and not that they're good now, but you know, they've got to really take those games against Cincinnati if they want to make me right, maybe, and make you right as well.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing is you have to beat it. So you got to do it.
All right, let's get to the big thing. It's the Brawl in Detroit. What a weird game that was in terms of, you know, the whole Miguel Cabrera thing. And then so he goes after Romine, who again, I didn't even look at it. I didn't realize it. I thought that Romine had been traded from Detroit to New York. Well, I wasn't even paying attention to that whole thing, and it was his brother.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, the whole Barry Sanchez. Just kind of go over your thoughts on just a couple of your takes on kind of what transpired in that game.
It was a bunch of 2-year-olds thinking they're following baseball's rules, and we've talked about it many times. We're going to talk about it with an article coming up that it's just ridiculous and someone's going to get hurt. They got very lucky in this one because Miguel Cabrera gets thrown behind. That was after Gary Sanchez already got hit. So that started that whole melee. Then Betances plunks a McCann in the head. Betances doesn't throw soft, by the way, so that's not good. But he was fine. And then another one from Wilson. Out of all that, the impressive part, I guess, is Miggy only got a 7-game suspension. Sanchez 4 for his sucker punches, which I don't know if we need to even get into that, but Alex Wilson 4 games for Detroit. Austin Romine 2 games. Osmus got 1. But it's stupid. The Yankees are going to be very, very hurt over this. You losing Sanchez, who is their best hitter right now. We talked about him last week. It's just foolish. You need to stop. There's no need for anyone.
Yeah, the one thing that came out here, and there was a video of it. I kind of tweeted it out. I think I tweeted it out on our handle. Is the whole after they had the second or third kind of benches clear, Victor Martinez standing and talking with Gary Sanchez, and who had to come in for catcher because of Romine getting thrown out or whatever. But in the dugout, Verlander and Castellanos are kind of talking to Victor about it, and then Verlander flipped him off, and Victor wanted to go after him. Verlander's a big team guy. I mean, I'm sure it's fine. Victor Martinez just got put on the DL for a regular heartbeat for a second time, so hopefully that's okay too. That can be tough. But the Gary Sanchez thing is crazy. I mean, Castellanos is on the ground with other Yankees around him. He's just giving uppercuts to Castellanos. It is insane he got only 4 games. Absolutely insane. I would have given him minimum – it would have doubled that. I would have said minimum 8, but I wouldn't have been surprised if they gave him 10. And then he appeals it, maybe gets it down to 6 or something. The chances might just get this out there. He wasn't trying to hit him in the head. I know that. I'm obviously a Red Sox fan. I don't like the Yankees. He wasn't trying to hit him in the head, but at the same time, and I know that other guys have gotten thrown. Canely got thrown out, and they're trying to. There's still a game going on, but you can't tell me that it was different than Matt Barnes. You just can't. And Matt Barnes got 4 games, so I don't condone what Matt Barnes did when that came out. I said he's an idiot. I also said he wasn't trying to hit him in the head. He just can't. He has no control. But Betances has a little bit more control than Matt Barnes. I think he tried to hit him. I think it got away from him. And he hit him in the head, and he got 0 games. They didn't suspend him. They gave Gary Sanchez 4 games. The Romine thing was kind of crazy. I mean, I think they did the right thing with Miguel Cabrera because he kind of – Romine's just like whatever. Yeah, I don't understand why Betances didn't get any games there.
Yeah, Betances confuses me. And then you have Brett Gardner and Osmus John at each other also. I should have looked. I don't even know. I don't think they play each other again this year. I'd be shocked if they did.
Yeah, no, they don't.
But spring training will be fun. I know that much.
Yep.
Or if Verlander gets traded somewhere in the next couple of days, so that could be fun too.
Yeah, and Brad Osmus won't be there to celebrate that little rendezvous when they do see each other in spring training or wherever they see each other next season.
See, if this wasn't a part of the unwritten rules, this would have been the best time to fire him. You had all the reasons you have no control of your team. Fire him now. This is the time to do it. Yeah. But no, they haven't done it yet. Not good, but it's too easy right now. But again, the Tigers couldn't trade their team. They can't do anything right. They're just lucky they bought enough talent. Otherwise, I'd start comparing them to teams like the Mets. The way they run their program is it's bad. But speaking about the brawl in Detroit, Buster Olney comes out with an article about players need to get rid of the old school nature of baseball. Apparently, Buster's listened to our podcast or something because he pretty much said everything we've talked about. But what were your thoughts on Buster's article? And he did go deeper. I'm joking, but he went deeper.
Yeah, I think it's a tough thing. I think number one, the players need to have respect for each other, and it's sort of a thing in hockey and it's a different situation, right? In hockey, it's a lot. Not that you can't, lose an eye or get a concussion or have head problems from getting hit in the head. You can, but in hockey, they've really gotten rid of fighting, and so there's really no and they've gotten rid of the goons too. But there's no retaliation for when your best player. And I hate the guy, but when people are going after Sidney Crosby, you can't. There's no fighting. We used to Boston love Sean Thornton. When someone will go after Bergeron or someone, he'd go after him and he'd fight him, and then that would be it. And you have to answer the call. I mean, Matt Cook ended Savard's career, but not to get into hockey. We're in a baseball podcast. But I'm saying they need to kind of – I don't think you can get rid of it. You can't just get rid of the retaliation. You have to do it the right way. You have to hit the guy in the hip or in the middle of the back. It's going to hurt for a second, and you go to first base and call it a day, and that's it. You can't keep going back and forth. Once it's done, it's done. The other thing that it hurts too is – the umpires. Sometimes the umpires will give warnings right away, like so the other team can't retaliate, and that's when managers come out, they get thrown out. So it's a tough situation to be able to get rid of it as a whole. But you would think in the next CBA they would figure something out where, sort of like and again, not the same thing, but the NFL has got the domestic violence whole thing where if you do something, 6 games, no questions asked. No questions asked. If you hit a woman, if you do anything to hurt your girlfriend, wife, whatever, 6 games, no questions. I would think in the next CBA they'd kind of come together and say, this retaliation thing, if we can't do it the right way, you get 10 games minimum for a position player, 2 starts for a pitcher or whatever. Just figure out something.
Agreed. It's the biggest thing is they just need to set the standards. Like 3-4 games aren't going to tell these guys any different. I think that's the biggest problem they have.
Yeah, for sure. That's why it's hopefully they fix it. But I don't know. Buster Olney. I was a little surprised Buster Olney kind of wrote it because he seems like an old school guy. But here's what it is. So next one, Rich Hill, who I was watching this game after softball. It was crazy that how good the Dodgers have been, Bubba, that they could not get a run for him to get that no hitter, and not only that, it should have been a perfect game going into the 10th. Forsythe booted that ball at third base, so crazy losing that no hitter in the 10th. What'd you have there?
Well, a couple things. The Dodgers have not had a perfect game since Koufax in 1965, so. That would have been it. That's way back. The other crazy part about this, besides the home run in the 10th that barely got over the fence, that people aren't even mentioning that often, but his final line technically was 9 innings pitched, but 99 pitches with 10 strikeouts, 1 hit, and 1 run. That's pretty remarkable from a guy that I know I've railed on a lot, and I know I'm not the only one that Mr. Blister himself that. If he gets through 5 or 6, I am thoroughly impressed. He threw 99 pitches into the 10th inning. I think he had 95 or something through 9 with 10 strikeouts nonetheless. That is remarkable. He had a Maddox. The Dodgers just couldn't score. He had the Maddox. It was impressive, very impressive. It also goes to show you, if you want to go deeper on this, is I say it on my DFS show all the time right now, at least the last couple of weeks, the Dodgers offense is quiet. It's very quiet right now, and that is something that they might want to try to liven up somehow. Ever since the Rookie of the Year disappeared on the DL, things have quieted down in Hollywood. So they have no need to get thoroughly concerned, but it is something to keep an eye on. There's no reason against Trevor Williams of the Pirates, who has a horrific set of numbers against left-handed bats. They should not have got 1 or 2 runs in that game.
Yeah, you got to win that game for him. You got to score runs. That would have been awesome to see. Pride of Milton, Mass, about 15 minutes away from me. That would have been awesome to see for Rich Hill.
Yeah. Back to your Red Sox. Constantly making moves. Apparently the roster is just never good enough. If you want, you can come to the Giants. We have tons of guys they could trade for, I promise. But they went to the other part of the Bay. They went to Oakland, and they got Rajai Davis, who is a really good bench guy. I'm not going to compare him to David Roberts because he's like a god there from what he did. But he's that type. He really is. And I think he's a better hitter too. But he was actually having a pretty decent year and a good run in the last few weeks to 2 to 4 weeks. What do you think about Davis to Boston?
Well, they made the trade pretty much the day after Jackie Bradley Jr. got hurt. And Jackie Bradley, if you haven't seen it, try to find it, but it was very weird. I wouldn't have sent them. Butterfield sent them, but he like went to slide, and they were kind of, whoever was the catcher was kind of blocking the plate, and he like went to slide feet first and then kind of switched and went head first and jammed his thumb. So he's out a couple weeks, and they made the trade. Now, Davey Dombrowski said that he had called Billy Beane a couple days before they made the trade. Say, what do you think about Raj, as he said? So that's his guy from Detroit. And he said he was going to really make the deal no matter what. I'm not sure. I don't think he would have made it this early. I think he would have made it when the rosters expand on September 1st. But it became more pressing when Jackie got hurt. They made the deal, like you said. It's these deals at the end of August, unless it's Verlander or someone big like that, they're really no brainers because they're basically trading you or me, because there's no prospects that are going to pan out into something unless they hit the lottery. So the depth move, and it's fine.
Agreed.
Okay. You texted me this week when I put this in, and I said, you know what? It's been a little quiet lately with some news, and we talking about brawls and whatever, and we'll get a month left in the season. And your San Francisco Giants, unfortunately, they've been out for a long time. They're battling for the number 1 pick. So I want it's not a rapid fire, but I wanted to get into your mind because really, it's been, I get to rant on the Red Sox, and I love doing that. You don't get to rant on the Giants. So I got 4 things here for you. Let's get through it. Looks like, based off his injury and then this whole year, even though he said he might opt out, Johnny Cueto is not going to opt out. Thoughts?
He's not going to. Well, I don't want to say not going to, because baseball gets crazier and crazier every year. It's going to be very, very hard for Johnny Cueto to find a deal that the Giants gave him.
Yep.
But the market isn't the greatest. There are good names. You got Tanaka, you got Arrieta, and a few others. But everybody knows people that have looked into it know Cueto's had multiple blisters and pitched through that. He's got a few other arm issues. He could be on, the downhill Matt Cain-like swing. I don't think so. I think he's still really, really good because he shows signs of the really good stuff from time to time still, not on Sunday in Arizona. But other times, it would be an interesting gamble, especially if you wanted to do like the old Ian Desmond trick, take a 1-year deal somewhere at a contender, try to win, and then test the market again. It's just really ballsy because you already got this guaranteed. You could retire at the end of all this because he's getting older. It's a very interesting move. I was furious the Giants didn't trade him. They couldn't because he was hurt, so it wasn't completely their fault, I guess. But yeah, Cueto is one of the many problems that the Giants get to face this offseason.
I mean, he turns 32 at the beginning of next season. He's under contract until after 2021 at 21 per. So you're talking 4 more years after this, and then they have a $22 million option on 22. So that would take him 4 more years after this. It would take him until like his year 36 without the option. Yeah, I think I don't think he'll opt out either after this, unless he somehow really just hates batting and wants to go to the AL like he talked about at the beginning of the season. Maybe he just says screw it and does it. But yeah. Let's get to the next one. Jeff Samardzija, Mr. FIP, but not Mr. ERA. They're actively been trying to trade him, but he loves San Francisco, and who doesn't? Who doesn't love San Francisco? You live there, so it's a wonderful place, great weather, but he's got a no trade clause. Looks like he can only be traded to contenders, it sounds like, big markets. Do you think he'll end up going anywhere? And I think I know your answer, but I'm going to ask anyway.
Well, the bright side to the no trade clause, with all big markets, it means they'll spend money and take the contract, or the Giants will do stupid Mets things and just give it away for no prospects, which is taking the contract, I guess. But this one was tough. This was like the toughest one you had on the list there. I like what he has to offer. I liked when they signed him as he's the number 3 behind Cueto and Bumgarner. Well, you've seen Cueto's issues. If Cueto leaves, well, then there's a whole another set of stories. But again, he probably won't leave. Bumgarner's already shown you he's coming back. He's looked really good in his last couple of starts. Just had to get back in the rhythm. Samardzija, they owe him a good chunk of change, but in the grand scheme of things, it's really not that bad for the caliber of pitcher he is in this market we live in today. It would have to be a hell of a deal, I think, to trade him now. If they were going to, it was going to be this time. I still remember what you said when we talked the Giants a while ago when I was calling for the rebuild, just burn it all, burn it to the floor. It's got a long ways to go. The minors are pretty weak. They've called some guys up that have been okay, but they'll spend money. And as we'll keep talking here, they're going to have holes to fill and they'll have money to spend. If you can have Bumgarner, Samardzija 1-2, that's not the worst 1-2 combo in baseball, especially in the National League West. It's probably number 2. Maybe you could tie them with Arizona, but that's as far as it's going to go. So I would think they keep him. He really hasn't been horrific, but he hasn't been great.
Yeah, I don't think they trade him. Like you said, $18 million, although we think it's a lot of money, it really isn't in the grand scheme of things for a number 3 pitcher in baseball. I mean, he's making less than my guy Porcello, who stole the Cy Young from Verlander last year. And I just looked it up. It's actually, he can block 8 teams per year. So technically he can get traded to 22, but I think he's fine. I think it'll be, like I said, his peripherals are a lot better than what he's pitching. The next guy who is having just a rough year, and everyone thought he was going to be fine, is Matt Moore. He's got a $9 million option after this season. I just wanted, and just going to throw some stats out for you this year. And it's very weird what's going on. He's against lefties, they're batting .370 against them with a .445 WOBA. He's been much better lately well, not much better, but compared to what he did in June with an almost 9 ERA, and then July was .476, August .402. Home road splits are crazy, 4.40 at home and 6.71 away. So $9 million option next year, they pick it up.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, it's to the ears of any Giants fans, it's not what you want to hear. Similar to Samardzija, Matt Moore, if he blows up, then you just get rid of him at the end of it. But $9 million, he's still relatively young. He's a left-handed arm. Like you mentioned the home road splits. His home games, he actually looks really good in most starts. Even his bad starts, the bad ones are really bad. But he puts a lot of quality starts together at home. It's just the Giants don't score any freaking runs. And there's nothing you can do about that. He's a number 4, maybe even a number 5, depends on what moves they make. We do have some youngsters that are coming up in the AAA, BD and company. $1 million buyout sounds great, but you're not going to find a guy with the experience of Matt Moore, a left-handed arm to top that off for $9 million. If he's bad next year, then you cut the tie. But I think they need to pay that and spend money elsewhere, because if they get rid of him, they'll have to replace him with a guy for twice the price.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think it's a no-brainer. $9 million is nothing, is absolutely nothing. That's chump change for teams like San Francisco. The last one, and you kind of segue perfectly for me into it, the Giants' offense is terrible. We don't need to sugarcoat it. They got 101 home runs this year. The next closest to them is 137. They are, in terms of WAR, they're 29th out of 30th, right in front of your friends, the San Diego Padres. You need help there. You need help, a big-time help. You need other players to step up, but Pence has 1 year left. Brandon Crawford's contract is, it is what it is. Belt's going to go up in money. Posey's fine. He'll always be fine. There's 2 guys on the free agent list that could fit perfectly in there. One's Mike Moustakas at third base. The other's JD Martinez. I think Moustakas is a California guy too. If I'm thinking correctly, maybe from LA. But do you think they'll kind of throw some Matt Cain money out there since they're losing that contract to get one of these two guys?
They're going to have to pay for somebody. I was hoping they were going to trade Hunter Pence this year. That would open up a whole slew of options. But he'll get to play. You'll have Span in the outfield again. You're back to the left field problem the Giants have had since day one. But I would love a guy like JD Martinez more than Moustakas. I love Moustakas. I'm a big fan of Moustakas. I think that ballpark's not good for Moustakas. That's the scary part. And he doesn't have speed to really enjoy triples alley. I like JD Martinez for the fact there's no ballpark that holds him in. He tore up Comerica, which is, I believe, the second best pitcher's park outside of AT&T. He would feast in AT&T regardless of what the conditions are there. He would play the outfield, which he's not even horrible in the outfield. He's not like a Gold Glove caliber outfielder. He's not bad. That would be a great person to throw money at. There will be many, many options out there to spend money. They're still going to have to go find pitchers because you are losing Kane. You might lose Cueto. I doubt it. They might have all five back if they pick up Moore's options, so they might have to worry about that. The bullpen needs a lot of work. Sam Dyson might stick around. He's actually looked really good. We were Dyson fans during the World Baseball Classic. We were all just as shocked that he just couldn't figure it out. Change the scenery. He's actually looked really, really good. He's kept Melanson out of his job for most of the last 3 weeks or so. They need to spend money. I would love a guy like JD Martinez. I would love them to trade. This is how you can get Stanton because they can afford him. You trade Pence, who's a formidable guy that the Marlins can use now, and you throw some prospects in there, the lower end ones, give them like 4 of them. I don't care. And take on a good chunk of that salary. That would be awesome. It'll never happen, but that's the kind of.
I was just going to ask. I said, did you just say Giancarlo Stanton?
Yeah, it's never going to happen, but he's going to get traded. Do not be surprised. In the next 2 years, he will be traded. The Marlins are going to change things. They have to rebuild. They don't have that one guy takes up too much of the salary to rebuild an entire team. That's the only problem. That's the biggest problem they have, unless the new owners want to come in and be the Dodgers and spend money like it's going out of style. That's a whole different thing, and if they go that way, so be it. But back to the Giants. They need to do something. Next week, we'll go over the top 60 free agents available. Maybe I'll pick out a few more for you there.
All right, interesting. Yeah, JD Martinez seems like the guy. And then maybe you bring Nunez back for third base because he's obviously been awesome for us since we acquired him. So yeah.
You know what's funny is Pablo's actually hitting with the Giants.
Oh, I forgot about him. I wish you didn't bring up his name. Now I got chest pains. It's not good. It's really not good.
That was my way to give you a little payback for this whole section. No,
we're almost in the off season. We got to start talking about these teams. You know, we already talked Phillies, and we can talk Giants if we talk Phillies.
Oh, that pains me to say that we're next to the Phillies. All right, but segueing, another option for the Giants, a legit option, is Justin Upton. There's a list of guys that can opt out, like Johnny Cueto. Just as easily, Justin Upton can opt out, and he is having a monster year. No one's ever questioned Justin Upton's talent. It just seems he either gets overshadowed by Miguel Cabrera getting a triple crown, or Arizona wasn't any good. There's always something to get in the way. He's been a very, very good ball player. And the market is horrible this year. I already mentioned Carlos Gonzalez is going out there. You do have JD Martinez, which is outstanding. Oh, in this article, Giancarlo Stanton could be eligible via trade. Just remember that right there. But you got Yoenis Cespedes was a free agent last year. I believe he only signed a 1-year deal, I thought. So there is a handful of options. If Justin were to opt out, he would move 1A and 1B with JD Martinez, in my opinion. What's your thoughts on this?
Number one, I think as good as he's been this year, I think the Tigers are praying that he opts out. Okay, because it's $22 million through 2021. So it's a lot of money. And not that he's old; he's only 30. He just turned 30 3 months ago. So I think they want him to opt out. The one thing I kind of question here, and if you really look at probably his, and I could probably look at his last probably 162. He's probably been great because he started off the season terribly last year. He's walked more this year. His ISO is as high as it's ever been. His BABIP is about 50 points higher than it was the last 2 years. So he's having a great year. I think he does opt out. Maybe he gets the same contract. He just gets an extra 2 or 3 years added onto it to get to, his 37-year-old season, something like that. And it would be a good spot he's hit in San Diego before, so it wouldn't be a bad spot for San Francisco, and especially where, again, he's going to add years. And like you said, this free agency year is not loaded like it is the year after. So I think he does opt out, and they could re-sign him because they just could add a couple of years if they wanted to, or he could be a Giant, or he could be, who knows where he could go. But he's having a great year. I found this interesting. This is the last one we have here. And again, not that it's just Yankees Red Sox, but this is the report by John Heyman. Yankees Red Sox to battle for, and again, I'm going to give it a go, Bubba. Let's see if I can figure it out. It is Shohei Ohtani. Did I get that right?
I've heard Shohei and I've heard Shohei. So you did pretty darn good.
Okay.
I'll give you credit. That's pretty good.
Okay. I feel good about myself there. But he's reporting that the Yankees and the Red Sox are in for him if he does come here. He's 23-year-old. I think I mentioned him in World Baseball Classic. He's 23 years old. Japanese outfielder and pitcher. He would come over here and be mainly a position player, but he can do both. He's amazing. Like, he hasn't pitched really at all this year, but like last year he was 1.86 ERA in 20 starts. And then last year he batted .322 with 22 homers and 323 at bats. This year he's been hurt, but the rumors are that people are over there scouting him. Friedman from the Dodgers, just to name one. What do you think about this kid? He could be a star.
He should be a star, but we've seen how that doesn't always pan out. We've never seen I can't say never. Ichiro is amazing, but we have not seen a hitter in a long time with power and average. And plus, he's the Babe Ruth of Japan. He's really, really special. The part where he gets shafted is we talked about the change in the CBA, and part of the change is the international spending, and now it's heavily regulated. Fines out the rear end. You only have X amount of money. It's way, way different. It's going to be really interesting. I'll throw it back to you before I start giving my team predictions, but the kid's going to be good. It's just a matter of when he's going to come and how much he's going to make.
Yeah, right off the bat, there's a $20 million posting fee. So that's the posting fee. I don't think I'm not sure it's like the Daisuke Matsuzaka thing where I think we bid like $53 million just to talk to him. Mm-hmm. I think this is a flat $20 million fee. I don't think it goes above that. I think he just has to choose who he wants to talk to. So I don't think we'll be in on it, but the Yankees will for sure. Maybe you guys.
Yeah, the Yankees are definitely a big contender. The Giants, I like. They've had a couple Asian players. They've had some Chinese guys too. That they enjoy the area. That Chinatown, the Asian culture is huge in the city. There's a whole district for it. They would love it there. I think he's going to the Dodgers. That's my thought. I think he's going to LA. The kicker, because I really think we need to watch where Darvish and Tanaka go this offseason. Where those guys land, move towards the top of the list, in my opinion. Darvish mentioned, we talked about it when he got traded, he loved Texas. And the Rangers general manager, John Daniels, has visited Ohtani already in Japan, or at least to scout him. They're in on it. I really feel it's kind of what we talked about with the Latin culture. There's a lot to be said for these young guys coming over and getting to hang out with someone they know instead of feeling left out. The fact he's only going to get a small deal with the new contracts, I think he can max out at about $8 million or something. If he waits a little longer, he can get more. He doesn't have to go for the big payday because there's not one. So he can actually go where he wants to go, sign a smaller deal, get comfortable in baseball, and then go for the big bucks wherever he wants to go. That's where I'd watch Darvish, Tanaka, but I think the Dodgers get him.
So this last thing on it, from what I read, if he comes here now, make less money, but he sounds like he wants to come as soon as he can. But if he waits a year or two, I guess he can get a little bit more money. I'm not sure the whole situation. I'll have to look into it. And when in the offseason, when we talk about the free agents, if he does decide to come, we can look into it more. But it'd be interesting to see, like you said, how much money he actually can get. To the ALDL news, thank God, Bubba, there's only a couple of them this week. Jackie Bradley Jr., I mentioned it, left thumb sprain. Hopefully going to be back. He's been out about a week now. Hopefully we'll be back in probably 2 weeks or so. They're going to take their time with him. Andrew Miller, I also talked about this one. Patellofemoral syndrome, which is basically another way to say patella tendonitis. He's shut down 5 to 7 days. They're going to win that division. So I don't think they're going to rush him back, but you got to hope that he gets back, at least a couple weeks of the season so he can just stay fresh, because we know how Francona likes to pitch him in the postseason. They like to throw him everywhere. Salazar, the shoulder injury, he's throwing tomorrow, as in Monday. So he'll hopefully be back soon. Kipnis has just not had any luck this year. Any luck with that hamstring. He hurt it in the Red Sox series. He would have beaten out for an infield single, but he pulled up right before first base, and that's not good for him. So they've talked about a few guys in terms of trades, maybe a Jed Lowry, maybe there was another guy they mentioned, but Brandon Phillips maybe before the waiver deadline on Thursday. Yohan Moncada, shin bone contusion. We know they're not going to rush this kid back. They'll take their time with him to make sure it's nothing worse. And then this one is they don't think it's too crazy, but Danny Duffy, sore elbow. They think he's going to miss one start. But he had Tommy John surgery in 2012. He's had arm issues this year. This is a scary one for the Royals, especially where they may not make the playoffs and they screwed up this whole year. And I'll keep saying that until we stop this podcast in 50 years, Bubba. Now to the NLDL news. What do you got?
We had some seasons end this week. The Mets, this one wasn't their fault. I'll give them credit. Michael Conforto, freak injury, dislocated his shoulder, capsule tear, done. Just done, which is a shame. He was having an amazing season, so he's done. You got Zach Wheeler shut down for the season. That might be one of the smarter things the Mets have done, actually. That's a good start. Put Noah Syndergaard on the bench next to him now. That'd be a good start. Trevor Rosenthal, we mentioned him a little bit last week. He is having Tommy John surgery. That's a shame. Jeff Mathis, who was a pretty good backup catcher or he's actually more of an everyday catcher there for the D-backs, fractured his hand. It was like torn off the muscle. It was crazy, the description that you could read. Scott Feldman, knee surgery. He's out for the year. Yoenis Cespedes, right hamstring injury yet again. That's all I got for this week. I think a few more things came down today. We'll recap it all later in next week's 20 pages of DL news. I want to talk about a couple of fun things here before we wrap it up, because baseball has been pretty crazy every week. There's always something that kind of stands out. Bellinger did his thing, Judge did his thing. Now we got another guy. We talked about him when we broke down the Phillies farm system. We talked about him with Liz last week. Rhys freaking Hoskins. And I pray to God they find a better nickname than Reese's Pieces. I cannot. That's the first time I've said it out loud where someone else could hear it. I can't stand the idea. It's too easy, and he does not deserve that. But this guy is a monster. We loved what he was going to bring to the table. Somehow Tommy Joseph was in his way. Let me just read off a couple things, and I'll get your thoughts. Today he started a triple play. He hit his 11th home run, which is his 11th home run in 18 career games. No major leaguer has hit 11 homers in fewer than 23 games. He has homered in 5 straight games. He joins the likes of Chase Utley, who did it twice, Bobby Abreu, Mike Schmidt, and I forget the first name, Allen. I'm a long way back for the Phillies organization. 5th guy in Phillies history. It's insane. I think I saw a stat also. He's averaging 1 home run for 2 swing and misses. Every time he swings and misses twice, the next one's going out of the park. His rate right now. That's insanity. Reese Hoskins has more home runs in 18 games than Aaron Judge has in any full month this season. Let that sink in for you. So, what's your thoughts on what Reese is doing out there?
I think he's a star. I do. I think they sort of did the right thing. I know you mentioned Tommy Joseph and how he wasn't able to beat him out. I think they did the right thing in terms of letting him go through every level of the organization. He's been in the minors for this was been his 4th year in the minors. He's literally been to every level in the organization, and it was smart because, last year in Double-A had 38 homers, but he was striking out around 21%, and started in Triple-A this year, and he brought that down to 15%, 16%, and that's what he's striking out about right now. He's 16.7. He's got a good eye. He walks a ton. I think the interesting thing is, number one, the 517 ISO. We all know that's not going to sustain itself. But he's got a 211 BABIP, so it's very interesting to see. Gary Sanchez last year, just for kind of a comp, we know he was crazy last year. He had 20 homers and 229 plate appearances, and not including including today, he's got 11 homers and like 76 plate appearances. So does he catch that Gary Sanchez wave? I mean, we all know he's not going to win Rookie of the Year this year. I don't know exactly the plate appearance or the at-bats, but will he even be eligible for the Rookie of the Year next year? I think he will, but I'm not too sure there. But he's been incredible, and he's exactly what the Phillies need. Now they just need to bring up Kingery and J.P. Crawford, and we're on the way here.
Yeah, Phillies fans should be very, very happy with how things are looking. Reese is outstanding, just outstanding. I think he'll be very close. I heard the number. I think it's 250 to 300 plate appearances or something. So he's going to be real close because they still have, 5-6 weeks left to go.
Yep.
So it'll be tight. I hope he's eligible for it next year because he could put on a show. Next up, I got 2 more guys. We're going to start with Byron Buxton of the Minnesota Twins. 4 for 5 today, 3 homers. Has been on a tear. His average is up to 249 now, which is respectable, especially considering the defense he plays, the stolen bases that guy brings to the table. Everybody talks about, as long as he just hits decent, he's going to steal for days. He has 23 stolen bases to go with now 10 homers. But the biggest thing is he's up to I guess right now they're saying 241. I saw a stat earlier today. That's 249. It's 249. Strikeouts are still ridiculous, 29% almost. But the last month to 6 weeks have been outstanding. Is Buxton for real finally?
Oh my God! When he did that today, I think I sent a tweet out. I was like, I don't, and I said I won't buy in yet till he does it longer. But it'll be a dark, stormy, snowy day. It'll be 50 degrees for you still in San Francisco, and it'll be a dark 25-degree, getting 2 feet of snow in February. And I'm going to be looking up at nothing to do, and then I'm just going to buy in somehow. It's ridiculous. I think the strikeouts are 29%, but if you think about it, if you look at the splits, I mean, in July it was only 23%, and then in August it's 24%. That's fine for him. That's fine. He was up around 30% before that. So as long as he can do that, baseball needs Minnesota needs him. Obviously, baseball needs someone like this guy. He's just electric. The guy can. I mean, if he ever, I don't know if he's played in San Francisco yet. Probably not. But if he ever plays in San Francisco and he hits the ball in that triangle, he might he might be able to run for 5 bases instead of an inside the park homer. That's how quick this guy is. Baseball definitely needs him, and I hope that he's, again, I don't think he's going to hit 30 homers, but I hope that he can sustain and be, like you said, defensively he's unbelievable. So be good enough to get to, I don't know, what would we say, about 20 homers a year? Would you say something like that? I mean, I think he's got yeah, in the minors. I mean, I think the most he's ever had was about, last year between AAA and the majors, he had 21 homers. So yeah, I guess he's got 20 homer power. We talk about 20, 30, maybe one day he gets to 30. That would be the complete ceiling of Byron Buxton.
I'm just happy he's doing it. First off, he did play in San Francisco this year. The Twins came to town, but that was in the days when he wasn't hitting still, so it didn't matter. But it'll be good to see, because he was a number 1 prospect in all of baseball, not just for the Twins at one point in time. And just the fact that he's doing it's awesome. The last guy I'm going to talk about, and I think next week we need to do a serious talk like we did on the AL MVP, on the NL MVP, because it was kind of a couple of guys going for it, but this man, in my opinion, has it and should not be ignored. Giancarlo Stanton. Let's just put some numbers out there. 28 doubles. That's good. 102 runs, 108 RBIs. He's batting .296, which most people forget. He's actually hitting very well. And today, on Sunday, August 27th, remember this ends the first week in October, he has 50 home runs. First off, thoughts on Giancarlo, and second off, what's the final tally?
Guy's a beast. Guy's an absolute beast. We've been waiting. It was 2014 when he had the 37 and 105, and we kind of have always said he's had 50 homer power if he wants it. He just could never stay healthy the last 2 years. He only played 74 games in 2015 and 119 in 2016. So he's already played 7 more than he has in the last 2 years, from last year. He is an absolute beast. I think the final tally, I know he's on pace for like 63 or 64. I think, in August, this crazy August, his ISO is like almost 600. His BABIP's like 380. He's been around like a 290. So as well as he's been hitting, even he's human. So I do think that he slows down a tiny bit, whatever slow down is for him, like a 10 homer month. I think he gets to I think the exact number I think he's gonna get to is 61 homers.
You're gonna have him tying Roger Maris. I think he gets 62 or 63. Because I think he's gonna do it. I can't wait for all the curmudgeons to come out and get on the whole Bonzo's on steroids, he doesn't count.
Yeah,
it's gonna be just great television. I can't wait. Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless, just somebody. I'm not gonna say what I really want to say, but yeah, just end it now. Because you can see it coming a mile away right now. It's going to turn into, can Giancarlo Stanton beat LeBron James or something? That's their.
Yeah, I've already seen tweets of, is he the real home run champion if he beats Maris? Like, is he, Bonds, Sosa, McGuire? He's the Giancarlo in this day and age with the testing is the real home run champion. Hey guys, until they have Olympic style testing, you can't say that the people aren't on something.
Yeah. Well, that's all I got for this week, Mo. Anything else you want to bring up?
Nothing, man. I'm going vacation this week. That's why we're doing it a little bit early. So appreciate you jumping on. But when we talk next week, it'll be after Labor Day, and it'll be September, and we'll be 4 weeks away from playoff baseball. It'll be exciting.
It's going to be wild. We've almost made it through a baseball season, Mo. That close. But, again, you can check Mo out on Twitter at Boston_Mo. I'm at BDintrip. But most importantly, follow the show at Around Bases Pod. We'll be back with you guys next week. Enjoy episode 27. And until then, we'll catch you guys later.
See you.